there's any more discussion that council or Caitlin's been involved with this. This is
Do you have anything to add to it, Caitlin?
No, I mean, we were gonna get the sidewalks permit. We were right out there to the valve box, so there's no holes in the top, like the square ones that are currently on our sidewalks. It does not allow rainwater, no melting to get into the sewer system, so we're not treating groundwater. That's the whole purpose, so we're stop treating groundwater and rainwater. We want to take up our sanitary system as much as possible, so that is why we switched to this style. They've been working, there's no issues. Most of our contractors prefer them, they're heavy duty, so if somebody drives over them, they're not braking. And they are heavy, so people can't steal them, which has been an issue in the past. We have no issues at all. This is what we want, what we need for I&I. I have nothing to add.
How much do they cost per resident?
We are not upcharging them at all. It is what we pay for them, from the company in Selinsgrove. Currently, it's $91.35.
That's for each bank out?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's like a little mini, like manhole cover is what it looks like. And they say sewer on them, but like I said, they are super heavy duty. It just is what it is. Most contractors just build it in.
What's council's wishes if you don't have any other questions? Are we making these mandatory
When they replace their sidewalk.
when they replace the sidewalk?
Yes, or if they have to replace their sewer line,
But we're not making people dig them up to put them in.
not at this time, no.
Everyone does have to have a functioning vent cap, though. That's-
Yes.
Which is the way it should be.
Okay.
And this is just one more thing too to show DEP that we're trying to eliminate this I&I through any avenue that we can come up with. You know, you think about how many sewer vent caps you see throughout the town. You think about how much water gets down them in a rainstorm. You know, we're paying to treat that water. So this is how we can show DEP again why we're trying to eliminate it. Here's one other way that we can do that.
And this also helps residents from having issues with their sewer, because then people and kids aren't dropping rocks and things that could potentially clog up their sewer lines. So it is a benefit for the residents as well.
So if everybody's satisfied, I would just look for a motion to advertise this for next month.
Make a motion, we advertise it.
Do we have a second to that motion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. So you'll bring this back next week or next month? 2 weeks?
I don't know if it'll be 2 weeks or 4 weeks, just because of the publishing turnaround
Okay.
time.
Yeah,
But it'll be next month.
Okay. Thank you. Rental ordinance review, town hall ordinance for the rental part review. I know Bob was gonna look into some of that and talk to Caitlin.
Well, chatted with Caitlin a little bit a while ago, and we're looking at probably early February, maybe the first week of February, to meet with the Landlords Association and listen to their suggestions and run by what we're talking about, and hopefully come to some mutual agreement here where everybody's pretty much happy.
We gonna hold it here, or do you wanna hold it down at the rec building?
I think it's gonna have to be the community center.
Okay.
So we put out during that first town hall, we had said about putting a survey out online to see what feedback we get. So I threw together a PowerPoint or Google Slides here. In that time frame, we got about 40 responses from the survey. This is currently a breakdown of the Caitlin had sent me from 2014 to 2024 residential rental units and the breakdown of the wards. So you can see, if we look at Ward 1 there in 2014, which is the top here, there's about 865 total parcels. There's 322 rental properties, and of those 322, there's about 485 rental units. So as you work your way down through, you can see in 2014, there was about 2,148 rental units in the borough. When you fast forward to 2024, you can see that number has jumped to about 2,313. and total parcels hasn't changed in those 10 years, but a lot of these properties now are getting transitioned to a rental unit, which then obviously is causing the average percentage of dwellings in the borough has jumped from about 68% to almost 80% are rentals.
And you'll notice that the number of rental parcels for now in 2024 has gone down, which means there's more rental units on less physical properties. So they're cramming them into a smaller area.
Yeah.
It's like
And
the
this-
boarding houses? It's like the boarding houses?
No, so basically they took like, say a duplex, so it used to be two rental dwellings, now it's 3 or 4. And broke it up to smaller.
This doesn't account for the housing or the
The
rooming.
rooming houses would just be considered one in this scenario.
So
They're
you can
not
obviously,
apartments.
you can see how many rental units are in the borough of Lewistown.
That we know about.
Right. So this is just some of the data that I had asked on the survey. Do you currently have any rental properties in the borough? You can see that 60% of the people that responded said yes. Do you plan to own any rental properties in the borough of Lewistown in the next few years? So this is kind of split for the most part. If you take away this 15%, there's a pretty big chunk, about 85% of the people that took this either have or will have some sort of rental property in the borough in the next few years. So, obviously, I don't know if we're the rental hub of PA, but it seems like a lot of people are coming here to do rental business. I know that this was a discussion point at the town hall. Do you feel that tenant information should be shared? The purpose behind it was for the per capita tax, for the borough to be able to charge and collect for per capita tax. You can see that 60% of the individuals said no, they were not in favor of that. So that's obviously, a point that we have to work through and talk through and, talk with the landlords at the next town hall about that. You got split reviews here on would you be in favor of a rental ordinance? You're, almost 30, a third each way. Would you be in favor of another town hall? You can see that was an overwhelming yes. They would like to, go over it. And I think it's good to include them in the discussion, let them help kind of guide, the ordinance itself, and because obviously they're the ones that are going to have to follow it. So this was just some feedback. Less is more. Paperwork needs to be kept to one sheet. Keeping the fees in even dollar amounts. This individual was in favor of tenants needing to be held liable, as well as the landlords in regard to waste management. So obviously we have, the garbage and stuff. Stop adding laws. We have enough laws. People complain about providing affordable housing. Makes it more difficult. Current cost of everything is high. This one supports the passage of the ordinance, kind of to protect the tenants, to ensure the quality and safety of residential rental properties. This one was kind of bringing up the point of maybe you had a tiered system for the number of rentals versus with the fee. Instead of a flat fee, you did it in chunks of, every 5 rentals it was this, and most areas have a rental ordinance for a reason. They refer to the same thing. And then so this is another one. Why should good landlords be subject to more regulation? So obviously it was good to get some feedback from them and kind of see what people were thinking. 40 is better than none, but I believe another town hall is beneficial to continue to have that conversation with them.
Now, this is for the public, this is not just the landlord.
Right, yeah, anybody that,
Yeah, anybody wants, yeah.
yeah. I mean, council's thoughts?
I agree. I think it's good to allow input from the landlords about this ordinance after they read through it. Makes sense.
Yeah.
I thought that meeting was very productive. I mean, was good dialogue, and they offered a lot of really good suggestions to add into what we'd already had, so.
And I know that there was one suggestion of potentially adding like a preface or a preamble to it. Mark had sent me one from the rental ordinance that could be added to it, that would be like kind of the preamble or the preface to this one that we can update before we get to that meeting, but, yeah, I mean.
So do we have a draft to take with us to this meeting? We do, okay.
And the draft was online for people to read and look through before they did the survey, to kind of, educate them and let them know what was in it.
Matt, to further say on that, I also have the draft for the checklist of what we're going to actually be looking for when we go in and do the inspections, and the draft done for the forms that they're going to have to fill out. Everything's like one page.
And that's all out on our website now?
It is not yet.
Okay.
I figured we would have it ready for the landlord discussion. I mean, I can put it on the website, but
Yeah. Anybody in the public have any comments about this at this time?
I may.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously I've been in the fire service for quite a while, and maybe I'm not familiar with the borough. But what type of stipulations you have as far as codes, and who's the code company you use? Or you use your own code company? Or? So you set the standards for the codes. I mean, how far's the doorway gotta be? I mean, how big's the hallway gotta be? How many units can you put in one unit? And so
So how do you get that information, Caitlin? Or what do you,
we're basing everything off of the International Property Maintenance Codes. So it's all set by the standard to the state of Pennsylvania. Yeah, we're not setting anything, we're just going off the basics.
Okay.
Basically, when we go in and do our inspections, it's to make sure that there's smoke detectors and that they're all functioning, that there's handrails and staircases. It's basic habitability. We're recommending that they have fire extinguishers and that type of thing, but in the state of Pennsylvania, they're not required.
Yeah, I know that.
Unfortunately, we do require interconnected smoke alarms and stuff if the building is over 4 units, because that's required by state law. So we are like requiring what's required by state law, but we can't enforce anything above what's required by state law unless we pass an ordinance saying that.
That's what I was gonna say, you can pass an ordinance on it too.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I wanted to suggest that if there's more than 4 units in the building, that we require the landlord to give us the layout of the building, so we can give it to our fire department. So if there's an emergency in unit 9, they know the quickest way to get there. Because in some of these apartments, it's like a maze inside of it. I think that would be beneficial. Some of the other ordinances that I looked at, because I go through them all the time for different municipalities, they require that. If it's over so many units in the building, they require the layout. And that would be beneficial for all of our emergency services.
Yeah, because my mom lives in the apartment complex down there by Snickers, that 3-tier one,
Mhm.
and it's like a maze. You go in there, if you're not familiar with where you're going.
I mean, everybody wants, don't get me wrong, everybody wants to make money. Everybody should be allowed to make money, but it's gotta be a safe way of making the money, you know what I mean? Just,
Our goal is safety.
yeah, you just can't cut and dry everything. That's just my opinion as a firefighter, so that's where I'm coming from.
anybody else? All right, we'll move on.
We'll work on getting a town hall set up, and we'll advertise it and make sure everybody's well aware of when it is.
What was the date?
We haven't set one
You
yet,
haven't set it.
potentially the first week of February, based on schedules and stuff like that, but we will communicate that out.
Okay. And this is on the website?
Not like
Not your point.
not this portion, no. I just pulled this from the survey that was on there that people had done.
Okay.
So, I mean, it could be something that I put on there just to kind of share with what's happening or what the feedback was.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll move on. Chapter 55, Rec Board.
So,
Sure, I can help with that. Which of these media providers would you like to use?
oh, sorry. So, the question came up is, can we schedule rec board to be kind of along with one of the 2 monthly borough council meetings. The issue that came up was that our ordinance specifies when rec board is supposed to be, which is the first Tuesday of the month at 7:30. So what I would propose doing is just changing that ordinance to say the recreation board shall hold regular monthly meetings at a time and place to be determined by borough council. So you don't have to get in there and change your ordinance every time you want to change when a rec board would be scheduled. I don't know if there's any other changes council wants to make to the rec board ordinance.
Hold it up.
There's the meeting time.
Right, that's paragraph A is what we would be changing. And the rec board would, the schedule would be published annually with all the other borough meetings and committees and what.
So this would just be done with a resolution?
Change, it would have to be an ordinance change.
Okay.
If that's all you want to do, I can advertise it kind of along with that sewer vent cap ordinance.
Let's scroll up to the number. Where we go?
I think it's set up as like a 7-member board, I think.
Yeah. Does that need to remain, Mark?
It's completely up to council.
Yeah, I think it's a 7-member board with 3-year terms or something like that, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Yeah, right here.
Lisa, you were chairman of that. What do you want to do there? You're
That's up to everybody else. Seems to be a lot of, meeting time more than anything.
Yeah,
I just see there that it's 7 members with the 3 year.
I mean, it kind of, that section there defeats what we're doing here with having the committees as we are as an open committee, so we all can attend. But with that, that's going to have to be changed.
Yeah, I don't see how we were able to have a board meeting without changing it to something else.
The majority of the rec board members are still working, so there's no way that they can get in here like for an early meeting or anything.
5 seem to be working.
Why?
That right, Colby? Did that seem to work?
Prior to 2024, our rec board met at 6 o'clock, and I thought personally that the attendance was better. The bigger issue I saw was there was members that remained on the list that had poor attendance for long periods of time, and there was no way to address removing them, or they weren't asked to step down, and that resulted in if somebody's sick, then we didn't have, a quorum.
I mean, you could potentially, it doesn't have to be 7 members, that's completely up to council. It might be easier to work with a smaller board.
In our last meeting, I think we had 3 in November.
I mean, if you went to 5, then you would definitely, your quorum would be 3 technically.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
I mean, the other way around, we could attach this at the end of our council meeting at like 6 o'clock. Because most of the time, we should be done by 5:36. I think most days where if you had rec board then start at 6, those council members that were part of it could stay. We roll with rec board.
That sounds like a great idea.
I think that, you mentioned that, I think that's a good idea.
Then it allows, you said 6 o'clock, you had time for people that could make it.
Yeah.
You have your council, you're
Well,
still
I
kind of
know,
staying
like,
within one night.
Alan's been on almost as long as I have, for 5 years, and he works in Harrisburg, So his travel time, even 5 o'clock, he missed some just because, well, if he runs over late at work, he couldn't make it. But yeah, I definitely like it after. That would at least
To change them?
still.
Yeah, we'd have to, yeah, we'd have to change the, I mean, you could still be 2-year terms or 3-year terms.
Have you been on it that long as well?
2019 was whenever I joined the rec board. Before that, I was on planning commission for 2 years.
I didn't realize there was a term.
That's another talking point. Not trying to.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna clean it up, I think you clean that up too.
Yeah, I mean,
if you continue with this, then it's really not part of what we were headed to in the beginning of the year, so.
Right.
Now you've added an extra.
Are we gonna change the amount of people on the board, like Toby said? Down to 5, like Tyler suggested?
It's up for discussion, we haven't.
Well, I'm
really-
just asking.
Yeah. I think to get, if we're gonna keep it separate, to get more people here,
Yeah.
like he said, there was people that didn't attend.
That was just recently, but since I've been on since for a year, I think the most we've ever had was 5.
There's some of those members that are reoccurring that don't show up. So
Right.
I would suggest some sort of attendance. You know, if you're cleaning up this thing, if they're not even attending half the meetings,
Right,
what's
if
the
they don't
point?
take 3 meetings in a row, they can be
Yeah.
replaced.
So whatever you think is best, but I would suggest thinking about that whole attendance thing.
Sorry.
I know before Kim left, he had called quite a few of them,
Yeah, I don't know what the.
and they didn't, they said no, but then we had 2 show up randomly. But
So-
what's it, Gene Hughes, he's been on forever.
I mean, we don't have to make this decision tonight, but, I mean,
Yeah. My opinion, for what it's worth, is I think it's valuable to have input from the public for the rec board. I think we need to look at the whole set of code, or the whole chapter 55 comprehensively. There's no sense making an ad hoc change, then going back and modifying it again. So I think we should look at it as a whole, bring it back to the next meeting, in my opinion.
it's fine.
I agree.
Jim, did you have something?
Just wondering, is there any benefit to having alternates?
I mean, does the rec board need to vote on things? I mean, I think it's more like
Yeah, they don't really
advisory.
vote on it, it just comes, yeah.
Kobe, will you send me an email with some of your suggestions as well?
Sure.
And then I can make that note and share that out and.
Sure.
Make sure everybody gets copies.
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll just table it to each
I think
of,
there's quite a few things that could be changed at one time, right, Mark?
I mean, it's more economical to make all your changes at once.
Right.
Yeah, we'll get that printed and we'll make updates and I'll share.
okay, law and ordinance, 2025 priorities.
I think, I mentioned to Tyler that probably Caitlin and I should get together amongst the 3 of us and whomever else, just to kind of say like, you know, what do we want to get done in 2025?
Is there anything around the table that you guys have that to put on the?
Do we have anything hanging that we haven't addressed yet?
I think there's a couple like smaller things that are still hanging around, and I'll bring the list I have, you know, to whenever we meet.
Caitlin, you can comprise a list of 2. I think you had some nice things, right?
Yeah, there's a list down on my desktop. Some of them, like Mark, there were just a few things that just needed cleaned up. Like the min and max fines, we missed a couple years ago, or they just made cut. It's minor tweaks and things, and then there was an ongoing list from 2024 that we didn't.
Right,
get
that's kind of
completed
what I
yet.
was thinking. We could
Yeah.
start with that list, see if those priorities remain, and then add whatever we want. So we'll probably be able to talk about that more the
Yeah.
next time we do this law
Yep.
and ordinance.
All right. Rec board discussion. Kind of there twice, or?
Well, it's kind of under its own separate,
Okay.
because we're in chapter 55 was part of the law.
Okay.
So rec board, just, I know it's January, but I don't think it's too early to talk about the swimming pool. Because before you know it, it's March, and then May is upon us, and then we're obviously scrambling. So there was just some discussion, Caitlin and I talked with Lisa the other day about, one of the topics was the concession stand. And what do we do with the concession stand moving forward? There was talks of trying to maybe see if there's a local business that would be interested in running the concession stand. As I talked through it, I said, is it wise of us to maybe put out a request for bids? Or, to see what some local businesses, maybe they're interested that we're missing, or we're not, to see, hey, our concession stand's available to be run at the pool this year. Do you have any interest? If so, what would you propose to us on your end?
Did we do that before? Did we lease it to
We have
somebody
leased it a couple
before?
times.
I thought so.
Yeah.
So
There is somebody who is interested that has approached me, so I think we at least need to talk to them before we go further, but
I mean, you're not.
But I think we need to get it out there.
I think it needs to be opened up to everybody though.
Well, yeah, that's
Any
fine.
business should have the opportunity to bid on it.
that's fine.
And I think everybody's going to bring a different way of saying, hey, we're interested.
Because we did not put the concession stand nor the help in the budget this year, so there's no money budgeted for that at this point. So you almost have to put it out there. So
Well, we gotta start there because we can't really advertise for the pool manager with responsibility-wise, but I didn't realize there was no budget for
yeah, there's no budget for the concession stand or help for concession stand in the budget.
Caitlin, how many passes did you sell in December? Ballpark?
Like family passes or like total?
Just, yeah.
Total.
15 or 20.
But you did get a little influx there
Yeah, the very last day.
before the rates changed for 2025.
Very
right?
last day. And then I got a message on Facebook at 3 a.m. on January 1st asking if they could still purchase under 2024 rates. I'm like, it's 3:30 in the morning. No.
You tried.
Didn't know.
So obviously, essentially, our biggest thing with the pool is lifeguards, is making sure that we have the staff to run the pool. I haven't heard who from last year wants to come back, who doesn't want to come back. But I would say probably by the end of February, beginning of March, we should start to at least advertise lifeguards to get them lined up, because if there's safety courses and certifications that they need to do, we need to get that ball rolling.
Can't they go into train again this year?
I think so, but I think the Y is actually holding trainings that would be cost benefit to us if they went and paid instead of us paying. I mean, if there does come down, I think she's still.
I think Kylie's interested in coming back.
Yes,
I hope so.
she is. I talked to her.
Yeah. Oh, because we had set a opening for the pool as May 31st, correct?
Yep.
That is in conjunction with events at the park to try to, Caitlin's working on that, to pull everything together for a pool opening day. Kids should be out of school barring any snow days, snow makeup days, all that good stuff. So,
A question, if we don't get someone to lease that concession stand, that's a big part of the pool experience. Would we be allowed to see if there was any interest in food trucks down there?
I said that, you think about food trailers that you can just pull in there next to the baby
Yeah.
end of the pool and.
That's what they do in State College.
Right. Yeah.
Just wondering.
That's, even if it's on a, change it up every week. You can pull someone new in there and.
Yeah, that could even be part of the bid process where we get a percentage.
Right.
of the profits.
Keeps it different every week, it's not the same stuff every, so.
Did you make any profit?
And obviously
last
that
year?
would go back to the pool,
Right.
to fund the pool.
Did you make any profit last year on the food?
The food, but the wages wiped it out, yeah, it was
Okay.
it was a loss.
Well, talking about food trucks, that's one of the things the city does with their Friday fundraiser. A lot of times they'll have one of those guys come in. Instead of charging them a flat fee, they generally give them a donation, and the more money they make, the nicer the donations are. Mac can probably tell you, we've seen some pretty nice sized donations.
So it's an idea, yeah.
We're talking into the hundreds of dollars.
What about when that solid gold guy comes?
They all have, yeah.
All the same, yeah.
I think the only thing we'd have to do is give them some type of we need you here at this time to this time. Because if you don't, they might decide to, maybe pull out early, and then you have that. But that's a thought, Bob.
It's definitely an interesting idea, because if you have different kinds of foods down there, that's gonna kinda draw people in. Oh, Wednesday's barbecue day, or what have you, so.
Well, if it's just there in the parking lot, you might get non-pool
Right.
people to show up.
Non-pool,
Yeah.
just baseball.
It's true.
Yeah.
So, I know it's January, but I thought that it's worth the discussion at this point. So next month I'll come back and we'll have a kind of a to-do list, checklist for us to begin as we get ready for March. Anybody else have anything for the poll?
Are we gonna figure out the hours? Or are we gonna wait and hear back from the Y about the swim team stuff?
We're gonna have to.
Just because we have people asking about
Right.
setting up parties and
Yeah,
that type of stuff.
yeah, so we'll have to get that figured out.
Keep it in your mind.
There's a lot of things in my mind.
We might be able to have that by the end of February, beginning of March. Times.
Yeah, we have people messaging the Facebook page all the time, they want to reserve for parties already. Because they're trying to plan their summer.
That's a waste.
Well, she's talking about parties, though.
Yeah, because she needed times when we're gonna be open.
Yeah.
That's all I got. Anybody else have anything?
Yeah. Anybody else have anything for committees?
Fire committee will be next, but that'll be after.
Also, you each have a parking regulatory private property. I asked Mark to put this at everybody's place. I want you guys to look at it. We're starting to see, drive through the borough, you're starting to see an awful lot of people parking on their yards, up on the sidewalks. It's just not a good thing. We park in the opposite direction. One street, they decide to use it one way, but it's a one way, but they use it both ways. But anyway, look at this for next month, and then we'll talk to Mark and see what we can maybe adopt this, or at least move forward with it. I think it's a good one. It came out of State College. I know several years ago when I was on council, we tried to do something like this, but it didn't go anywhere. So just read. You remember that, Mayor?
I did, yeah.
So just read through it, see what you think, and we can go from there. We're not going to act on it tonight.
I don't think we need to add anything so we can go to public comment.
Okay, we're going to public comment for the council meeting at this point. You have 3 minutes, and it has to obtain to something that's on the agenda for tonight. So I'll open it up for public comment. Okay, no public comment? Okay, consent agenda, A through F. If we don't
It's
need
just
to.
A, you're just taking A. Everything else, but we do those in the first of the month.
Oh, yes, okay, I'm sorry. So A, approve the minutes from the December 31st council meeting and January 6th.
So moved.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Mayor's report.
I think I'm gonna stand over here. I got some things to say.
Start the timer. You got 3 minutes.
Yeah, you don't think I can talk fast? At our last meeting, the chief had mentioned that we're going to be wanting to do testing for police officers. And in order to do that, we needed 3 positions filled in the Civil Service Commission. And I'm proud to say that we do have 3 people and that we would like to put on. I actually just need your blessing on these, so I just want to tell you a little bit about them. It would be Craig Wheeler, who is the principal of security at the Geisinger Hospital and School of Nursing. Russ Rager, who was at one time on council, and actually he was president of council for a little bit. And the third is Janie Welsham, who was real active in Kiwanis, and all 3 were very interested in being on the board and appreciated being asked. So that's a plus right there. So we have 3 of them. I have my quarterly report for my marriages. I only had 2 in the last quarter of this year, so I'll just pass that around. Thanks. Another thing, back in, excuse me, 2018, Pennsylvania Commission and the United States legislatures and the governor of our state had come up with a program. It's called America 250 PA. And I had an opportunity to participate at the elementary school with this. I think I told you about that before. They had a book to read to the children about the different events, historical events that happened in Pennsylvania. I mean, we're an important part of this story. And I have talked to several other mayors in different communities, and they're actually starting to, what the program is for boroughs and townships to come up with individual programs to celebrate it. This will happen in 2026. And several of the mayors that I've talked to, they're actually coming up with some really neat ways to celebrate it. And I think too, we would want to, once we decide what we want to do and get it set up in a way that I'd like to pass it on to PSAB so that they're aware that we're participating in it. So if any of you would have any interest in it, I'm going to be, I guess, in charge here. So if any of you would like to be part of that program, to set up something to do the celebration, then see me, and maybe we can put our heads together and see a really cool, something different that we can do to celebrate it. Okay? And I think that's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Scott? Take one, pass. Police chief report.
I don't have a report right now, it'll be next month.
Okay. You have any?
We covered everything.
Borough managers.
Alright, next council meeting, February 3rd, and then Tuesday the 18th because of President's Day. I got this from Bob Douglas today, he dropped this off. So, to the City, Hook and Ladder, Heritage Volunteer, and Chief Logan Volunteer Fire Departments, I want to personally thank you for your help during a recent call involving a descendant in a badly decomposed state. I know how difficult and unpleasant these situations can be, especially with sensory challenges, but your professionalism, patience, and ability to work seamlessly together made a tough situation much more manageable. Your coordination with Misty and the way everyone supported each other truly stood out, and I'm so grateful for the care that you showed throughout. As a small token of appreciation, I'm including a $50 gift card. Your dedication, teamwork, and willingness to step up in different moments make a real difference, not to just to me, but to the entire community. Thank you again for everything you do. I'm truly grateful for your hard work and support, and I look forward to continuing to work with all of you. You are awesome. And this came from the coroner. There was a situation down the south end. So she was just sending a note of thanks to our local fire companies for what they did in that situation. So we want to pass that along to you.
She sent a $50 gift card to each company that was involved in it, so.
Okay, so they did.
All three companies received it.
Perfect. Good deal. Yeah, so it's always good to hear good things like that. So downtown Walnut Street update, if you may or may not have heard, we got notice in December of this year that they were going to repave Market Street and Walnut Street from Valley all the way out to the new section of 522. In talking with the water company and us, we have been able to push this project back a little bit just because of all of our stuff underground in these areas. We don't want to pave a new road and dig it right back up. So we did get these moved. This is the Walnut Street paving project, so it's going to go from Valley Street all the way down past the Twin Kiss, out past Nittany Minute Mark, out to the new section of 522. So we are working with EADS. Once the weather breaks here, we're going to get on site there and start to do some cleaning and televising of our sewer lines to see what issues, if we have any issues there, that we can get them fixed prior to any paving. The same thing goes for Market Street. Market Street right now. Seth, did you guys talk to anybody today? Did Lucas call anybody?
I know Tom has been in talk with PennDOT.
With PennDOT. Okay. So we're talking with PennDOT. The water company too needs some time to rehab some of their lines. Currently, their main T downtown Lewistown sits right underneath the monument. So in the event that they need to get to that, the monument might be coming down. So they are going to reroute around the monument so that doesn't happen. Yeah. Yeah. The T, the main T, is right underneath the monument. So they want to reroute around the monument. We have some sewer that we need to fix in amongst there. So we're asking PennDOT just to bump that back a little bit so we can, get our stuff in line and don't have to dig that road up.
Is there any talk of doing Main Street?
My guess is Main Street will get done after, because in 2027 they're putting a roundabout in out on the old, when you come down past Snedeker's and you get off to go to like near the Brooklyn.
Yeah.
That bridge is getting replaced with a roundabout
Really?
in 2027 to eliminate that bridge. Right before you go down the parallel, yes. Because the bridge replacement's like just shy of $6 million, and to put a roundabout in, it's like 2.5 or 2.7. So it's cheaper for PennDOT to do that. But when they reroute traffic, they want to reroute it down Main Street.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing once they get that traffic rerouted and put all those big trucks and stuff down Main Street, that's when they would put
It's
that
in
on
bad
the
shape.
schedule.
It's
Yeah.
really in bad shape.
Well, the upper part of Logan Street should be addressed again.
Yeah,
Yes.
definitely.
And that's state, but a couple of years ago they repaved that. It's been a while.
You get those trucks coming down off there, hitting the brakes and just
Yeah, that's
slides. So, Seth, do you have anything to add?
We're cross-referencing all the maps and just trying to get everything honed in to when the weather breaks a little bit, we can send the field crew out with.
To start to look at it?
Yep.
Yeah. So that's that. It's tough when they tell you in December that initially they were gonna pave in May. So we did get a bump back. It will potentially be on a 2026 cycle to be paved once we get our stuff corrected. Unpaid balance notices. We are getting ready to send out cycle 2 unpaid balance notices. We are getting some people that are getting their accounts in order. So we continue to work through that. So we are